Welcome to the Progress Zone podcast, where we help you create real momentum in your mindset, business, health, and life. I'm your host, Jody Donaldson, and every week we'll explore the small, intentional steps that lead to big, lasting growth. This isn't about hype, it's about habits. So let's get started. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Progress Zone. Today, I'm joined by someone who has built not only an incredible real estate career, but also a reputation for helping others break through their own ceilings. My guest today is Stacie Peterson. She's a top producing agent with eXp Realty and a respected real estate business coach. Through her work at staciepeterson.com, she has guided countless professionals to stop chasing shiny objects, get focused, and execute with clarity. Stacie, welcome to the Progress Zone.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I love this podcast. I love your book. So I'm excited to chat with you today.
Well, this has been a long time coming, and I'm excited that you take the time to be with us today. I think I've watched you grow. I've known you for several years. I've watched how you grew in real estate and into the business coaching side of it, and really just built a phenomenal platform to help educate agents and just I just love what you've done. So thank you for being here. For folks that don't know like your background, can you share a little bit about, before you became a business coach, how you built that career in real estate and kind of what drew you into real estate?
Yeah. So it's kind of a funny story why I got into real estate, but I think everybody has those stories, right? No one was like, oh, I woke up at 5 and decided I want to be a realtor. But so I was working for a hotel company as their like corporate sales manager. And I really loved business. Always have. I just loved that. And there was a lady in my city that I lived, and she sent me this folder, and it was like her face. It was like 8.5 by 11 folder. And it said, I've just gotten into real estate. And I was like, wow, okay, this is neat how you market yourself to businesses and people. And so it got me a little more intrigued. And my parents had, flipped houses kind of before that was a thing. And so I was sort of used to that environment. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to get my license. Like, I think this would be great. So I was 24 years old and got my license. And it took me 6 months to sell my first house. And a friend of mine used me as their agent. I had no clue what I was doing, but luckily they didn't either. It was their first house. And so, yeah, I just loved it. And the next year sold like 20 some homes and just really dove into it, learned as much as I could. I was 2 years into the business and then became co-owner of a team, which was like more like a shared services. So there was like 5 of us that shared an admin, shared some marketing ideas, but really we're our own agents. There was no combo of leads or anything like that. And loved that team. We had, we sold a lot of homes. We had to explain to everybody what a real estate team was. Nobody knew. And then from there, 2 of us kind of took off and started our own team. And so me and my business partner started this team, grew it to 300 transactions in 5 years. And then I sold my ownership portion. So that's kind of my real estate career.
I love it. So you said it took 6 months for the first, and then you said the second year you sold 20?
Yes. Yeah.
What did you do during that time? I mean, as a new real estate agent, getting your feet wet, being young too, like that's the other thing too you run into, and folks like, well, they've never bought a house, they don't know what so how did you go from 1 to like 20 and
Yeah. So I had 2 really great relationships that helped me that I kind of cultivated as I was coming up in real estate. So one thing I did was anybody that could ever possibly know my name, I put them on my newsletter, which was nothing exciting, but I mailed to them every month. So I was like, taping them and sticking her sticker on and all that stuff. So it helped me just continue to get my name out there. But the 2 relationships that really worked is I found a lender right away that honestly, he didn't really give me business. I gave him business, but it helped me have someone that I could count on consistently. So I knew my clients were taken care of. And even if I didn't quite know what was happening. I had a great broker too, but this lender really helped me. Secondly, I identified a company that was hiring a lot of people. They were actually hiring like engineers and like computer science people. And they were a big ethanol company. And so I knew they were bringing people in. So I went and pitched to them, like, let me be your realtor of choice. And here's why. I'm going to tell them, I know everything about your company. I know where you started, when you started. I know your family backed, like, and I did. I knew everything. And I said, I will convince or talk to them about what a great company you have. And then when you're interviewing them, I will give either the spouse the tour or whoever's with them, find out everything they need, but also I'll talk to the spouse about what the opportunity is to live in this community and work for your company.
Wow.
And so I like got no response at first, and I thought, okay. So I like followed up with a letter and mailed it. And then one of the owners, there were 3, sent me a referral. And I was like, okay, let's get started. And then I just kept going in and interview or like being in front of their HR person and then telling them, you know, hey, let them know how this was. Was it good for you? Was it not? What could I improve on? And so, oh gosh, 1 year from that lead source, I sold 40 homes in 1 year just from that.
That's amazing. But see, you said it, you didn't get a lot of traction at first. And so sometimes that's discouraging, right? And then people just give up. They're like, oh, it didn't work, right? But you kept going in there. You kept showing up. You kept being in the face of the HR person, you know, trying to put them on the mail or on the newsletter. And that adds up over time to where when they're ready, then they're like, oh yeah, that Stacie lady, she sends me stuff every month, right? Like I see her face everywhere.
Right.
And that's all it takes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you build up this like really great rapport. And even with they then like hired recruiters later. And then the recruiters would call me and say, hey, I know that you're their preferred agent. And so that it just worked out really great. And I'm so thankful. But I think for anybody that is in business or going into something, the key for me there was I just focused in and I wasn't trying to find a whole bunch of other ways to make it. Right. I was like, okay, go deep on this, do this well, become that person, and then go find another way and another way and another way.
Yeah, that's so smart. That consistency, right? Just being consistent, showing up, doing the same thing over time, I think adds so much. You mentioned the team. So then you build into a team, and real estate now, it seems like everybody knows there's real estate teams, right? What that looks like. Yeah. But probably when you did that, like it's confusing to folks, right? Because people like, I want to work with Stacie. So I don't want a buyer's agent showing me homes. I want you. Or so how did you grow that team in the beginning and then also educate, you know, your clients and stuff like this is how we work and it's more efficient and functional and you're still getting me to negotiate, but you know, the boots on the ground might be somebody else. So how did you build that? Because I think that's interesting. A lot of people don't really know how to do that.
Yes. Yeah. And it was, you know, I think it's a mindset shift. If your mindset shifts to it, it's fine. But if you're hesitant, you're going to come off hesitant to your clients and they're not going to trust it. Yeah. So in the beginning of building a team, it was like a slow transition, right? So at first I met with them and just like you said, okay, I'm going to bring in someone else. They see hundreds of homes every single week. I always said like, I trust them with my most important clients and my family. And that's why they're going to help you. And then I will come in, I'll be involved through the process, but I will come in on the negotiation side. So then the next part was I would just send them videos through the process. And so they didn't meet, they might have called me at first and I'd explain the process. I would always say like, now I am in the marketing and development side of our real estate business. And so this person is going to help you. And then I'd send them videos throughout the process. Like, oh my gosh, I just heard you saw like a really great house and I know you're thinking about it. I looked it up. Looks amazing. You know, if that's the one, yay. And if not, you know, we're still here to help you, you know, at closing. And then follow up. What was really, really important was because I did completely get out of production. So all that millions and millions of dollars of business was now getting handed to someone. And I know a big question is always like, well, if someone leaves my team, are they going to take all my past business? Because now maybe they've helped them.
Yeah.
But we did a really good job marketing the team. So the communication came from the team. As a team, we are doing this for you. As a team, we're inviting you to this. As a team, we saw. And so we really didn't lose much, client business if someone went on to further their career a different way than our team.
Yeah. I think it's hard to wrap your head around if you've never been in that environment or understand it, right? Because you're like, I do feel like folks want to work with you, but like you said, you've got to believe in it and tell them that, hey, this is going to be more efficient for you. Like you said, I'm not out there every day. These buyer's agents are out there. They're, checking every homes. They're going to brokers opens, things like that. But, I will be there along the way, and we collectively are going to help you. And I think folks see teams in other areas, right, of maybe a sales process or like, I'm trying to think of like a retail place where like Best Buy, there might be someone selling you, but they all who work in that department are like the team, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think folks, once they, like you said, wrap their head around it, then they're like, oh yeah, this makes sense and it's okay.
Yeah. And as long as the service is great, I think they don't care as much. If it drops, like every transaction wasn't perfect. So sometimes I would have to have a second conversation like, oh my, I'm so sorry that, we set these expectations and we didn't follow through in that certain way. Yeah. And so let's make it right. Like, how can I step in and help? And almost never was it, well, we need you. We need to see you and do it now. It was just, I want to know you care enough about us to be a part of the process. I guess I don't have to have you open the door or you call me weekly. That was a big important thing too. Not only the communication from me and them, but it was systematic. So every client knew we were going to call them Tuesday afternoons. Gotcha. So they knew clockwork. And if we didn't talk to them, we left this like ridiculously long message, which now you'd probably do a video, but at the time it'd be like this. And then we'd follow up with an email of the bullet points. But, they were well informed and they didn't call us after open houses because they got a note at the house and they got a phone call right after. So there were just these systems that I think people felt comfortable. And I'm sure there were some that didn't, but mostly, it worked well. And our repeat and referral business percentage was really high.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, that also speaks to the type of quality of service they were getting, right? So they were happy. They trusted you. Yeah. They knew that it was working. And so that repeat business is so huge. It also is the cheapest form of marketing, right? You're not spending dollars on, every door direct mail or anything else that might not be working. So referrals were a great way to build a business. So you had this successful team. And a lot of high performing agents, they just keep grinding in their lane, maybe make the team bigger, things like that. But you chose to expand into coaching, right? So what was that spark that made you realize that, hey, other agents needed this and that you were the one to help them make that next step?
Yeah. So at first I didn't realize that I was really a systematic person because honestly, if you'd follow me around, I don't do the same things every day. I really don't have this like amazing morning routine or like I kind of just go with the flow. Right. But when it comes to business, I'm much more, it has to be done this way. Here's how we're going to do it, and I like everything written in a system. So people saw that in me before I realized that I was like that. Cool. And so I kind of quickly would take something and make it into like a system. Like it was just so fun to take this, could be a mess, could be an idea. Right. And so I had a couple business coaches. I had a coach when I was an individual agent. And then when I was a team leader, I had a coach. And we kind of outgrew that coach, but that coach had given us some systems. So that worked well. Then I started working with another coach, and 3 months in, he was like, hey, you seem to be getting this differently than the other people are. And I don't even think like you. So could you help them with the implementation? I'll help them with like big picture.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, sure, that's the easy part. Like the
Yeah.
implementations, okay, no problem. So we started working together and it was like, one afternoon a week. Then pretty soon it's like a full day, 2 afternoons, 3 days. And I loved it. I loved helping other people. My goal was always for my team or coaching that when someone came into my world, that they felt like their life was better because of us all doing it together. So if I'm coaching an agent, hopefully something made their job easier, which actually the goal was in turn that their kids one day would be proud that their parent was a realtor and not like, oh, I never saw them. They were always on the phone. They
Right.
were always gone. I wanted it to be like, they did come to my games. They
Yeah.
were there.
Yeah.
So that's like my behind the scenes goal that like I'll never meet their kids, but it was always kind of this dream. Like maybe
Yeah.
one day they'll give their high school speech and it'll say, I'm so glad my parent was a realtor. And I'll be like,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah. So I loved coaching.
yeah. No, I was just going to say to that. I mean, that was one of the things when I got into real estate full time was focusing on, I was the dad that went on all the field trips, and I was probably the only dad. I was in the cafeteria doing ice cream at lunch, because it gave me the opportunity to flex my schedule and work it. But it's also a super intense, hard job. And it's a lot of hours that people don't realize. And, we always hear that realtors make too much money. And it's like, but the amount of time that you spend in that role, it is really hard. So to have systems and to have ways to kind of the mundane stuff be taken care of, whether it's through automation and now with AI, I mean, there's so many different tools that if you can implement, I think it makes a difference. And I bet many people, if they're listening and they're agents, they probably feel like they've hit a ceiling in some of those areas, or they don't have time, or they're not seeing their family and they're missing birthdays because they're showing homes on the weekend or whatever it is.
Right.
And maybe they're not seeing growth too, because they haven't scaled in some way to allow them to be able to get new business. But from your perspective, what are the biggest roadblocks that hold people back, and how do you help them break through coaching?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And you're like the perfect person for us to be talking, because you have this background knowledge of real estate, as well as like a high achiever. So this is fun. I think one of the biggest roadblocks is that they think they need to do everything themselves. And I also thought this. I was like, my clients are never going to work with somebody else. Like they want me, they call me, I built my name. And so I think it's leverage. And what I've learned just from also like having to help my own team agents use even our admin, or trust that my presentation is the one that's going to get you there, or coaching clients, right? I think it's just trusting. Well, first of all, you have to have the right leverage. And what I mean mostly by leverage is someone. So it could be a VA, an assistant, or like even I said, my lender, my first, partner, I leaned on him a lot. I'm like, are you seeing people ask for closing costs? Because this realtor like handed it to me because he was like, thought I was ridiculous, and he's like, no, this is how it goes. So having someone that you can completely count on, but then you can have your idea and it could be 90% baked out, but letting them have some ownership in that system or feel a part of it, you're going to have more confidence. They're going to have more confidence. And you can pretty soon just start, getting more and more and more away. So yeah, I think that's the biggest block. Like I need to have control. I need to do it myself. And I think you just haven't found the right system or partner that really worked well with how you work, because it's not a one size fits all.
It's not. And I will say, as you know, there are so many shiny objects that get you going down different rabbit holes of, hey, this technology is going to give me all the business I need. And then and it's not cheap. And, you spend all this money and time just jumping from one thing to the other, and not being consistent and disciplined in the things that are working. And so I think having, the roadblocks of like, I need to leverage myself if I'm going to scale a business and actually make it profitable and allow me to have the time I need and maybe even grow past the capacity that I'm at right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Not to give away all your secrets as a coach, but if you could recommend 2 or 3 systems or habits that you're seeing from the clients you work with in the real estate profession, if they could put something into place now to scale sustainably, what are some things that you think, like, if they just implement it right now, they're going to see a difference right away? And it doesn't have to be groundbreaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing probably is groundbreaking anymore, right? Like, we all have heard what to do. One of the things that I even realized with myself, and I do not love doing this either, but I know when someone does it or I do it for myself, my results are always 10x. Even if it's not perfect, like maybe it's not making me money, but it's actually progressing me forward. And then I can see it. So I believe it, because we don't believe our own mind, right? Like, yeah, I think I'm doing better. No, we don't. We have to see it. So tracking. And my favorite form of tracking is just to pick 10 things that if you were laying on a beach for 30 days and you weren't working, and someone else, like, don't think of how it's going to get done, but like, it got done. What are the 10 things that you need to know? And it could be, I'll even give that a caveat. It could be 5 to 10, but what's that number of things that you would know you have a healthy business? So one of the things you'd have to know is how much is in the pipeline, like under contract, right?
Sure.
How much has closed already? How much available cash do I have coming into the bank? What's going to close in the next 30 days? Because we already tracked the lagging measure of what we had closed. And that's honestly mostly just for our mindset to know we are doing well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are closing deals, because it could have been 3 months since we closed our last.
Right.
You also want to know how many leads do you have coming in. If you have none, like you're not doing any paid lead sources, which I think is amazing. I don't think you have to do paid at all. But if you are, obviously we need to know, how many are you getting a month?
Sure.
I was at a conference 2 days ago, and there was I don't want to say too much because they might listen to this and they're like, what? But they had 60,000 leads, and there was 10 people on their team.
Oh my God.
And I know, I was sitting there, and in my head, like right away, I'm like doing the math. I'm like, oh my gosh, if your people called leads every day for the month, they'd have 2.5 years supply.
Yeah.
And you're buying more and more and more. So that just told me there was no accountability and no tracking, because even as an individual agent, you don't want any more than 50 leads a month coming in. It is too many, even per team member, 30 to 50. So, but you have to track those things in order to understand, how your business works. So like for that ethanol company, right? They're tracking, how many plants are we building? What departments need work, right? But us as realtors, because we have so many demands on us, I think we're like, oh my gosh, I don't even have time to track. So even if you get back to it once a week and looked at it, you have a little meeting with yourself, you're going to be good.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think a tool that is really, really great is to do 2 hours of focus work a day. So sometimes that's hard, right? Like I don't love time blocking, but I actually call it progress time. So very
there you go.
But it's 2 hours. And on Monday mornings or Sunday nights, I go in and I write everything down that I have to do for the week, like my grocery list, what games do the kids have, like everything. Okay. And I plug all of that in. So appointments I already have set, right. Kids' activities, that goes in first. Then goes my 2 hour progress time. And what I do is I batch activities. So if I have to make something for a marketing tool, I'm going to do that during a 2 hour time block, and anything else I have to do in Canva or, design a postcard or mail it out. Like I'm going to batch those activities in that 1-2 hour progress time. And then my next 2 hour, maybe I'm going to do, so this is kind of the working on your business, which people have a hard time with. So in your business is prospecting, listing appointments. But here's the thing. If you're just in a season where you couldn't do 2 hours a day, if you did 2 hours twice a week, you would be farther ahead than you were last quarter. So I think those two things, if someone just, in their progress time, worked on one system until it was great, tracked the results and tracked what they've got going now, it would be amazing.
Yeah. I think too, you kind of said it though, it's being proactive and intentional on really sitting down and doing that, because so many folks are just reactive, right? Oh, phone ring, I got a lead, I got to go show homes, and not really thinking like, okay, well, I had something planned. Let's schedule this out.
Yes.
And so if you are trying to time block or to really set the week in advance, you kind of have some of those boundaries that do protect your family time or whatever it is. And I think it just do get sucked into that, because the phone rings, right? And you're 100% commission. You're like, that's a deal. It's going to put food on the table next month. I got to go do it. But I think if you can be proactive in planning that schedule, it really helps when those last minute calls come in and say, hey, listen, I'm not able to go show homes tonight. If you don't have somebody else that can help you, you'd be like, can we do it tomorrow? And just schedule it, I think. But yeah, we're so reactive by nature sometimes in real estate. I think it makes it really tough.
One time our admin had went on vacation. And so I had to fill in for her at the time.
Oh, geez.
And our phone at the office, because we were in an office at the time, was ringing off the hook from 4:30 to 5:30. And I thought, well, this is interesting. And I thought, why is that? Right? Because normally she's going to be ready to go out the door. And here, look at all we're missing. So 2 things I derived from it, and I think this is helpful as well, is number one, because she had her own office number. It was kind of our official team number. So we put on her voicemail as well as her email that she was gone at 4:00, even though she didn't leave till 5. But that way, those people that are like, oh, when is she going to call me back? It's 4:45. They know the next day, right? So number one, people just want to know you're going to call them back or get back with them. Number 2 was, what happens between primarily 4:30 and 5:30? People are driving home from work. So now they're in drive mode and they're just thinking hey, I was going to ask my agent if, fill it in, or did we do that price reduction, whatever it is. They just want to get it off their head. They're not necessarily thinking, I need you to respond to me this second.
Right.
We created that.
Yes.
And so if you teach people how to treat you and they know you're going to get back to them and they maybe know when, even with text messages, then, if they text you at 10 p.m. and you don't want to be the realtor that's answering texts at 10 p.m., go ahead and respond so it's off your head and click send later and click it for 8:30 in the morning. Yeah. Don't do that. You're just teaching them. Oh, she'll do it. She'll respond. Watch.
Right.
And
then
for
it just snowballs from there.
Golly sakes.
Right.
Yes. And don't put your inspection and offer deadlines then either.
No. Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No. I love that. I mean, but it is so true. People just want to know, okay, is she getting the message? He or she getting the message? Are they going to call back? When are they going to call back? But a lot of people, and I think all of us do a little bit, right? When we're busy all day long, but when we settle down, whether it's a drive home or we just have some quiet time, we're like, oh, I need to call so-and-so and ask. It's not an expectation that somebody's going to be on the other end. It's just, I need to dump my brain right now and give you the information and then get back to you whenever you can. And I think we all do panic usually and be like, oh, I got to get back to this person. But once you do that, a 10 o'clock text or 11 p.m. email response, then they're like, oh, so this person's working 24/7 and and they don't respect your time. I think sometimes not intentionally, but they just come to expect that you're always there.
Yeah, we're all like Amazon Prime brain. It needs to come immediately. Yes. And, one tool to give you something really, really tactical that anybody can use, any business, it's called Fixer, Fyxer. I think it's .ai. It is for your email. And what it does is it learns your voice. It learned my voice in 2 days. And it will automatically craft a response. It will automatically check your calendar. So if someone emails you and they're like, hey, I need to meet with you, but, when are you available tomorrow? And let's say you're with your kid at their baseball game and you happen to see the email come in. Well, normally, if you don't have something like this, you're like, oh my gosh, you're like, click over to your calendar and you're like, all right, I don't even know. Oh, what about that? And now all of a sudden you miss like the play. Well, but if you have Fixer, it will suggest a couple times from your calendar, it will craft an amazing response.
Nice.
And all you have to do then is click send. It's unbelievable. Like, yes, it's so great. And especially for realtors. Yes. But it works for any business. So I love it. And it categorizes all your email, like to respond, FYI, marketing. So I click 2 tabs every day instead of the hundreds of emails we all get. I go through about 20 of them, and most of them I'm just clicking, yep, send what you already put. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I think that goes into like, even though you work primarily with real estate professionals, so much of what you teach translates universally to anybody, to any entrepreneur, to anybody who's just trying to get through their day-to-day functions, right? So it made me think, like, what principles of success generally that you see apply across the board to anybody? I mean, some of these tools, like you just said, that's a perfect example of a tool, but are there general like behaviors or principles that you see of the most successful people that you work with?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a principle is, I think we think successful people have it all figured out. They have no doubts. They have no bad days. They do everything perfectly, and they don't. But you know what they do? It's more of a character trait, is that they show up more often when they didn't want to than only when they wanted to. And most of us are like that fair weather, they call it fair weather friend. We're fair weather business people. We're like, well, it's Monday morning. Like, I have too much. I'll get going at noon. Well, it's Friday afternoon. I'm done for the day. And I do and have done those same things. Yeah. But more often than not, I'm showing up and I make myself. No, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing much ever, to be honest.
Yeah.
Who does, right?
I don't know. Yeah. Just plop on the couch.
Yeah. Totally. It's like fall now. So, there's TV and all these things. But you have to, I think the second thing is also they found a fulfilling purpose in their work. So something about it, not everything, but something about it fulfills their purpose. Yeah. And utilizes their, genius. And then you do want to go for it more. So if you're a business person or an agent who is just feeling maybe beat down, or you're just having a bad season, or you've had a bad year, right? We've had so many things happen in the economy. I would just suggest kind of going back to the dreaming part of what you want. So let's just say that we'll use any business. You're going to go from, we'll say 250,000 to 500,000. When you write that goal, maybe January 1, you're like, yes, I can totally do it. And then February 2nd, you're like, what was that goal again? Oh yeah, 500. And then March, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind, whatever, forget it. Yeah. But if you tell yourself when you're setting your goals, okay, I'm going to go from 250 to 500,000, but I'm going to create efficiencies in my business so I'm not spending more time, and I'm going to, pick up my kids from school or hit all their games. Like, put in the stuff that's meaningful for you, because if you just have the goal 250 to 500, your subconscious is trying to protect you. And it's like, oh no, you're already tired. So you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to give you the flu tomorrow. So you realize,
right.
Your
immune system's already shot, right?
Yes, exactly. Like you broke your arm taking groceries in. It's just ridiculous. That resistance always shows up. But if you start to put in like, no, but I'm going to do it in less time, because we know you'll fulfill whatever time you've allotted. Sure. So if you said 1 year to achieve the goal, or you said 6 months, it's going to fill the time if you're committed. So say to yourself, okay, what efficiencies can I create to get things off my list? Or maybe in business, I got to let go of this product line or this activity or this promise I had made to past people because it doesn't produce results. So just, I think, putting in those things that you love into that goal makes it like not so scary anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. The part you said where like the discipline is just showing up even when you don't feel like it, right? That's what I have seen the most successful people do, whether it's taking control of their health and wellness, right? Like there's mornings you don't want to work out or you're tired from the night before, you didn't get a lot of sleep. But the folks that put in that time and are intentional about doing it when they don't want to and getting comfortable with the uncomfortable, they're the ones that see the results in 6 months. And, I've said it before, like, I'm like, our future selves are going to thank us for what we're doing today, right? Even though we don't want to today. So we've got to show up for them, which is us in the future, and hopefully stay functional, keep our brains working, just doing all that we can do, even when we don't want to right now. Because you're right. The older we get, like, I'm just like, I want less responsibility and less, more time for myself. And
I know everything's like comfort, more time, less stress. And that's true, right? Like we also get to harvest our results. We don't always have to now be planting seeds. Like we can now harvest some of these results, but we still have to show up. Harvest doesn't mean those farmers sit there and like their crops automatically come in. Yeah. No, but they've done the work ahead of time. And so also in our stages of business, like midlife, we get to harvest some of those results. So sometimes our feeling behind is just ingrained from when we were 20 and 30 and we were like, we got to go, we got to get it. And, we got to learn everything. And there's still so much to learn, but there's a lot we can harvest and be proud of ourselves for putting in that work, prior. And I think we forget that too at this kind of, kids are growing up. Yeah. We're becoming empty nesters or are. And it's hard to remember that. Yeah, I did put in some work. That's right. Yeah.
I love that. Because it's kind of being present, right? Like because we're still grinding, like everybody's like a day to day, right? We just got things to do and then you get caught up into it. But when you actually sit back and just take all in all the work you've put in over, your 20s and 30s and 40s and however many years you got. And then it's like, have some compassion and grace for yourself of like, okay, we've done this. Let's enjoy this. And I think too, that's part of that gratefulness, right? Like many folks have a grateful journal, like just the things that you are grateful for in your life every day also helps with that mindset, I think, of making you realize that, you're not always behind the eight ball and always struggling to try to rob Peter to pay Paul and make things happen. And it's like, you're okay. Like just, there's a lot of good stuff that's happened. Even for folks that are struggling with, financial hardships or health issues. I mean, there's good things that can be taken away. And the folks and the things that I've read and learned over the years is the folks that can have that gratefulness, it actually helps them through some of those hardships. So
that's right.
Yeah. I love that. Well, you've given some tools, but what keeps Stacie going? Like, what do you do personally so that you're sharp and grounded and help, to be able to help these folks? Because I think, what you do is amazing, but what do you do for you to keep you going?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I'm going to be honest. I think I'm still figuring that out. Like, how do I have time for me? But I love to read. I love to learn. I love to hang out with my family. And so I think those things, when I can stop my brain from like constantly thinking, of things and what to do and how to do things, when I can slow down enough and just, like you said, be present, I think that's the biggest gift for me because it's really hard for me to do it. I'm always like, even I go to church on Sunday and I'm like listening to the sermon. I'm like, oh, we could use that in business. That is, God was right. We could use that.
Yes.
And, instead of like, well, that's probably not the lesson he was trying to tell you, but okay. So I think that, and honestly, people give me so much energy and, we're in a Zoom virtual world now where so much is done that way. And so when I can be, with friends or meeting people, and I'm also an introvert, I'm like both, probably like everybody, you're kind of a little bit of both, but people give me a lot of energy. So it's fun to like talk with like minds, and that's always great.
For sure. For sure. I will say, I used to be super extroverted. COVID, I think, kind of pushed me more introverted, right? And then I can't believe COVID even existed. It seems like so long ago, but it was during that time. I'm like, I think I became much more introverted. So it's like I extrovert myself, but there is, now that I'm older, I want some quiet time, and I do need to regenerate inside, but I do love talking to like-minded folks. I love learning. I think all of us, you said it, we to be a lifelong learner is important, no matter what that is, so yeah, I love that. Well, I appreciate this conversation. I think it's been super powerful. I love the way you connect mindset and systems, and that equates into results for folks. So I don't think, no matter who's listening, whether they're agents or just entrepreneurs or just simply someone who just wants to get more out of their day-to-day function, I think there's been so much value here. For those that want to learn more about you, Stacie, and to connect with you, where's the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, I think Instagram or Facebook's the easiest place. And I'm just at This Is Stacie Peterson.
Nice.
And don't Google Stacie Peterson, because, there was this cop that, done Stacie. So my name gets all goofed up on Google. That's not me. So Instagram's the easiest. And I'd love to connect with you. Love to hear your own story.
Awesome. Yes, that namesake that you share.
I know.
Really probably get some random calls or want some interviews or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, not me.
And it's spelled differently too, I think, right? I think her first.
It is. Yeah. Hers is Y. Mine's IE. So at least that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll put all the links in the show notes so folks know where to find you. And again, I just so thank you for today. This has been a great conversation. I appreciate all that you're doing to help other folks just progress in their life and just be functional and find ways to make things easier for them as they scale and grow. And so I love what you're doing. I'm going to continue watching you. But thanks again for being here today.
Yeah, thank you. It was great. And I was telling you before, but I love your book. And I think everybody should read it because it really has I was saying you could read one chapter and take so much from it and not have to, you don't have to read the whole thing, but it's really great. So if someone's looking for, help in their life or business, I think it's a great must read.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Well, thanks again. And for those listening, just remember, keep showing up, keep doing the work, and keep moving forward. And I'll see you next time inside the Progress Zone. Thanks for joining me in the Progress Zone. If today's episode gave you a spark, share it with a friend, subscribe, or leave a quick review. And remember, progress isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up. I'm Jody Donaldson, and I'll catch you next time inside the Progress Zone.